Principal Shay, I'm not familiar with this name, but I think you are because you let him in. Gotcha. Thank you for your patience, Ms. Walker. All right, I am going to go ahead and get started. Are we live? Are we live?
We are live.
All right, thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Hollis Innovation Academy's Go Team meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been publicly noticed on our school's website. I am pleased to call this meeting of the Hollis Innovation Academy Go Team to order. Our first order of business is to call roll, and the secretary will now take roll.
Good evening. Roll call, Barbara Shea. Present. Carla Moore. Okay, Billy Walker.
Here.
Yeah, here. Sorry, here.
No problem. Monica Taylor.
Here.
Chelsea Baker.
Here.
Javier Torres.
Here, sorry.
Aisha Fambro.
Here.
Mariel Hicks.
Here.
Sherry Belil.
Present.
And Letitia Green, present.
This team will only be able to take official action if quorum is present. Ms. Green, is there a quorum present?
There is a quorum.
Thank you so much. We'll move along. So our first order of business is to approve the agenda. It was provided to you on the school website, and we'll take a moment to review the agenda here from the school site. So, as normal, I'll give you a second to look over it if you haven't looked at it yet.
Hold on. Something happened.
Should there be any changes to the agenda?
Oh, there it is. Oh, Lord. Okay. I'm sorry. I had both things going at the same time, and I didn't know what day it was over here.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, please say nay.
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Please identify yourself or raise your hand. All righty. We will also move on to review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting, which is also available on the school's website. I'm pulling it up just for your convenience. And of course, I will go through it briefly. So here's quorum, approving the agenda, the minutes, action item. And remember, the last meeting is where we got cut off at the end.
Go team.
Just FYI, someone is. And if you need to go back, you can, but these are the minutes. as posted on our school's website. Are there any corrections that need to be made on our meeting minutes from our last meeting? If there are no further corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
Motion to approve.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. And of course, any abstentions, please identify yourself or raise your hand. All right, let's get it going. So our first action item is to review our strategic plan. But before we go over that, we want to set some norms as established by the GO team. So the first one is this is a meeting of the GO team. Only members of the team may participate in any discussion. Any members of the public are here to quietly observe. We will follow the agenda as noted to the public and stay on task. We invite and welcome contributions of every member and listen to each other. We will respect all ideas and assume good intentions. So we just want to set the foundation before we move any further. So as I was saying, our first action item is to review the strategic plan. We will now hear from the principal as she reviews the final strategic plan. Are there any questions about this action item before we move forward? All right. The strategic plan, Principal Shay.
Hey, good evening, everybody. The last time we went over the strategic plan, I believe we had a power something, we lost internet, something happened. So we never finished the process. And the process is that we had to prioritize we had to make sure that our strategic priorities were in the correct order. And tonight we have to go ahead and do that, vote on that, and then we'll move on to the rest of the agenda. So I know we discussed them, but I don't think we ever finished putting them in the correct order. So the first one is fostering academic excellence for all. And the priority under that is focus on reading and math, performance of special ed students, Department of Special Ed students, focus on reading and math performance of all Hollis students, and develop a literacy and mathematics culture. So that's three things under in fostering academic excellence. The next one was building a culture of student support. We were going to leverage our whole child intervention group to provide wraparound service, to increase attendance, and of course, access to mental health support. We were going to equip and empower leaders and staff, improve leadership opportunities inside the school, and retain our top performing staff. We were going to create a system of school support where we provide multiple engagement opportunities for families, and we're going to leverage school-based partnerships to support families. Those are the strategic plan, school strategic priorities, and now we have to have a conversation about the order that these are in. If they're in the right order now, that of course is fine. And if we want to talk about moving things around, that's okay too. So I'm going to let Ms. Fambro go back and handle this, and I'm going to sit here.
All righty. So as Principal Shay previously stated, and I do have it on the screen just to ensure that everyone still has a snapshot of our strategic plan. So she already read through those. I won't insult your intelligence. However, now is the time to rank them. Many of you may think they're already in the correct order, but I do want to offer some time for you to think it over for yourselves. So we'll take about maybe a minute, maybe a minute and 30 seconds for you all to look at it, to think maybe 3 should be in 5 or whatever. But many of you might think it's already in the correct order. So I'm going to go on mute to allow you to have think time, and then we'll come back as a team to discuss if anything should be moved or keep it as is, and we'll vote on it and move forward with the next action item. So think time right now. We got about 25 seconds left. All right. Does anyone need any more think time before we engage in the discussion about ranking our strategic plan that will guide how the principal focuses on budget expenditures to address our top priorities? Does anyone need any more think time? I see something in the chat. All are very important. Thank you. No changes, no changes. So 2 people said no changes. I personally think I don't see anything that needs to be changed, but I do want to offer the opportunity for anyone else to give us feedback before we move forward. Okay, no changes. Give it about 10 more seconds. Thank you all. All right, so I have to ask still, are we agreed that are we agreed with the presented ranking of our school priorities, and are there any questions of the further discussion about this action item? Just want to make sure we agree. Give me a thumbs up, however you want to do it. Just want to make sure we're in agreement one more time.
We agree.
All right. And so do it formally because I'm
Agreed.
just making sure, y'all. We have to follow here.
Agree.
So I'll ask the formal question. Do I hear a motion to accept the ranking of our priorities of the strategic plan?
Yes, motion to accept the priorities of our ranking. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Torres. May I have a motion to adopt our strategic plan ranking? All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay.
Aye.
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 All right. This is our strategic plan, guys, in the order of priorities. Thank you all so much. So we will now move forward. We already voted here. So now we're moving to our discussion items. So you all, for our next few meetings, it's going to be really deep discussion. We'll be focusing on creating a budget for the next school year. We need to ensure this budget aligns with our strategic plan that we just reviewed and addresses our strategic priorities. We need to confirm our meeting schedule first to allow us to complete the budget within the district's required timeline. So nothing has changed, you all. I'll go to the meeting schedule. So you can see what we currently have, and I'll talk about an adjustment in a second. But we need to I did want to inform you that we need to have a draft budget completed prior to Friday, February 14th, 2025. So the budget has to be drafted before that day. Then we'll need to have the final budget approved after the principal staffing conference and before Friday, March 14th. So Principal Shay, I have to ask you, when is your staffing conference scheduled to take place?
February 26th.
All right, thank you for that information. We'll take a moment to look at our meeting schedule and determine if we can meet those expectations that I just discussed regarding the approval, the draft, and all of those things. So you all, we have a meeting already scheduled for the 26th. I am proposing that we have a meeting on the 12th in between that to ensure everything is in process for the budget and we can meet those deadlines. So I will give you a second to see if you all are available on the 12th. Remember, it's always going to be virtual, and see if we can adapt that meeting.
February 12th.
Yes, ma'am.
Enjoying.
And that should be a Wednesday, but please double check behind me. But that would be the Wednesday before Valentine's Day, I believe.
It is Wednesday.
Yep. So if that is not available for anyone, let us know. But I will go ahead and ask, do I hear a motion to accept the changes, which is just one extra meeting to the calendar?
To add the changes for
Thank
February 12th, 2025.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt this action item? All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, say nay.
Aye.
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 Thank you all so much. This is so smooth. We'll now proceed to the budget allocation presentation. The principal will share our students' allocation and present the proposed request for signature program and turnaround funds. We already voted, so this is where we are, and Barbara Shea will take over. Right, so we can talk about the development process.
So we are in the development process. We received our budget allotments about maybe 2 weeks ago. And from that, we have lots of decisions to make. Unfortunately, our budget has been cut drastically. And so there's lots of work to be done. It's not done. That's not what we talk about tonight. Tonight, I just sort of try to catch you up with where we are. Do you want to go to the next one?
Yes, but I also think it's important to focus on our roles that was on the screen. So especially the Go Teams role so that we can understand contribute. So I'll just go over that.
I can do it. It's good. For the Go team, I mean, my role is to design and propose the operational changes that are directly correlated to student achievement. I've got to find strategies and ways to manage them at the school level on using a different budget. Day-to-day operations. I am the expert on the school and making sure we hire quality instructional personnel. The Go team's role is to focus on the big picture. We look at positions and resources, but not the people. And we assure that the budget's aligned to our mission and vision, and the resources are allocated to support our priorities. You'll collaborate with me on the use of school level flexibility for position allocations, turnaround initiatives, and signature programs. It's a new process for FY26. This is not how it's usually done, but this is how it's going to be done moving forward. So our budget, in sort of a summary, is an investment plan for our school students, employees, and our community. Our recommendations are tied directly to the school's strategic vision. Our proposed budget for the general operations of the school are reflected at $11,188,318. This investment for FY26 accommodates a student population that's projected to be 544, which is a decrease of 53 students from FY25. So on the screen, you can see, I don't know if there's any way you can make it a tiny bit bigger just because I can't see it. But on the screen, you see the allocations for 26, which is in the first column, which is for, of course, next year. And then you see the allocations from last year and the changes. So last year we had 11,718,556. And that's a difference this year for me for $500,000. We had a per pupil ratio of this year 20,567, which is an increase for us to $938 a student. And because we're losing students, that accounts for some of the money that we are losing for next year. So you can see in front of you the allocations we have looking at the count for each grade level. And so, for example, next year we're projected in kindergarten to have 58 students. That's a difference of 7 students from this year. We are allocated for 48 students in first grade, which is a difference of 25 students for this year. We are projected to have 55 students in second grade, and that's a difference of 22 students. We are going to have 57 we are allocated for 57 students. That's the projection for third grade, and that is a difference of 9 students. In fourth grade, we're projected to have 59, and that is a difference of 4 students. In fifth grade, we're projected to have 71, and that is an increase for us of 10 students because fourth grade is our biggest grade this year, or one of, yes. Sixth grade, 66 students, which is an increase of 7 students going into middle school. Seventh grade, we are down to 64, which is a difference of 2. And eighth grade, we are 66, which is a difference of 1. Our poverty students are, we're at 499, which is an increase in 17 for next year. EIP, we're at 70 for this coming year. This year we were at 104, so we are losing 34 students into EIP. Special ed, we are at 86 students slated for next year. That is down from 95, and special ed is very fluid, and that could change at any time. But that right now is a difference of 9. And then in our gifted population, we have 9 students slotted for next year, which is an increase by 7 students for next year, which is great. That is one of our focuses, and it looks like we are pulling babies in, getting them tested. That is the Michael Hollis Innovation Academy change. The change is we're gonna lose 53 students. We're gonna lose some money that we earned of $530,000, 239, and we've earned more per pupil money because it's been increased by the district. We make a lot of money per pupil in the Atlanta Public Schools. At the bottom, I can't even see. So our total allocation is, I can't see, 6,087,000. Last year it was 5,758,000, and it's a difference of $328,000. The problem comes on the next pages because we've lost $2 million in our budget for this year. So it says that we have a total allocation of 11, but we've lost $8 million that I have to find in our budget and remove. I mean, I don't know any other way to say it. So that has been quite the challenge. It is a challenge because the one thing we don't want to take away are teachers and to students. The people that touch our kids, we are trying to protect with everything we have. But it's a lot of money, and I can't explain all the reasons why it happened, but I know a lot of it goes back to the $100 million deficit that the Atlanta Public Schools had as a district. So under the summary tab of on my budget, this is kind of an example of what it looks like. I have earned positions that are allocated by the district. There's no district flexibility with these positions. I will have those positions. Then I have funded district recommended staffing positions where there's school level flexibility. I have staffed positions, how the positions are currently staffed now. And then I have the difference between the recommendation in the funded column and the staffed column. The principal, I have to provide comments if there's a difference in what is funded and what is staffed. This is an example. This is not ours. This is just an example. So when we look at ours, for example, we aren't going to be funded 4 teaching positions per every grade level because we don't have the student population to support that. So just to break it down, if I said we had 60 kids coming into first grade, the ratio for first grade is 1 to 24. 1 teacher, 24 kids. We didn't have anything close to that, and we won't have anything close to that next year. But our hope is to keep out of the 4 positions we already have 3 of them. And honestly, that's pushing it. But when I go to my staffing meeting, I just have to come with my rationale in place and why this is a smart thing to do. And hopefully we will be able to do that. This is all, larger class sizes. We've never met the class size ever. We can have 40 students taking PE at one time. I mean, and we don't. We've been very lucky that we've been able to keep our sizes down. But next year it's going to become a harsher reality, and we are going to have to make some tough decisions about how to make sure we have our class sizes as small as we can keep them, with the teachers, with the teachers that we earn. I guess that's the only way to say that. You can move on, Ms. Fambro. Are you there?
Yeah, this is the next one, but it looks like it's similar. I see EIP teacher.
Oh, it's just yes. I mean, this is just a general overview of the budget and the positions. And honestly, and I know I've had this conversation with some people, some members of the Go team just that asked me questions along the way. We have lots of positions that we don't earn and that we really can't figure out how we can justify supporting them. But I'm not there yet. I am pulling my hair out trying to figure out how I can do what I need to do. But it's difficult. It's very difficult. And I'm just glad I get to share it with you all. We do have 2 pots of money that we have not touched yet. And that is, go on to the next one because I saw it and then it disappeared. No, I'm not in the non-staffing tab. Go back one. Okay. Let's see. That is, let me just, I'm going to jump ahead because the slides are coming. Go ahead, Ms. Fambro, and keep going.
So don't go to non-staffing or?
Well, non-staffing shows how funds are allocated for non-staff items and like teacher stipends.
Okay.
We will have teacher stipends because we have grade level chairs. We have people that do extra things that we can have, but we have to pay for that. That comes out of this budget. It's not that the district's paying for that. We have to allot for that in our budget. So I have to put in allocations for that, which is part of the overall budget. So it's complicated, but I will say this, and I think I said it earlier. I said it early in the year. When we started the school year, we had $128,000 worth of debt that I inherited when I got here. And because of that, we had nothing on these lines that you can see below. We had nothing. We had no supplies, nothing. And I'm grateful every day for Westside Futures and Mercedes-Benz because they were our partners that came through for us in terms of buying things for this year, because we had no money. They have bought our platforms that we needed, our web-based platforms that we needed that we didn't have the money for. They have bought school supplies for our students. They have done over and above for us, and I know all of us are forever grateful because when I tell you there was no money, I'm not kidding. There was negative numbers on a budget, and I had to spend, that took up, let me say this, 496 lines on the budget of things that were left unpaid. Books, things we ordered, things that we did not pay. And I had to spend the first months of school tracking down invoices, trying to put pieces of the puzzle back together so that I could at least send it down and they could figure out how to work with it. So without the help that we got, because when I tell you there was nothing. And I believe in being transparent. I was transparent with the staff. I don't know that they always believed me because I know we tend to exaggerate. Oh, we have no money. I was not lying and I was not kidding. And I'm still not kidding. And I'm just very grateful for the partners that were not all 100% wanting to support because they felt kind of frustrated about how money was spent in the past and not knowing how that money was spent was a level of frustration that I appreciated, but really didn't have anything to do with. But I promise you now, there's big giant notebooks of every penny that's gone out of this building in support of students and teachers. And I thank our partnerships for that 100%. Hoping next year that I'm going to build stuff into the budget that will cover that for the new principal that will be coming in. So there are 2 pots in this budget that I have, that one is called the turnaround school pot. That's one thing because we are a turnaround school. And there is the budget for signature programming. And we are a STEM school. And the way that that is different this year is that they aren't giving me money. They aren't saying, this is what you have for signature programs. I have to come up with rationales and express what we need based on data and several other factors. And I have to present that during my budget meeting in the end of February. And from that, I ask for money. And we'll get to that because it's coming up. You want to go to the next thing? Signature, okay. Signature and turnaround fund process overview. They're piloting a zero-based budgeting process for signature and turnaround programming this year. And they're going to allocate funding based on program efficiency and necessity rather than history. As opposed to traditional budget, there's no item is automatically included in the next budget, such as the initial allocation for these programs at all schools is zero. So I develop process requests for the personnel and non-personnel. This is where I can build in the platforms we need to buy for next year, any kind of materials we'll need, any kind of public professional development we may want our teachers to go that's outside the building that may cost, a registration fee. And of course, a lot of that is we're guesstimating what we want to do, but we are going to put that in the budget. And I will, once I get it, I have it started and I'm going to share that with you tonight. But after after I look at things, I still have to remove things from the budget, which is very difficult, and hope that through some of these programs, I can pull some of those things back in, but there is no guarantee. Can you go to the next one, please? So, this is our fund request, and it's probably easier if I just talk about, this is the signature program. So we are asking next year for an elementary STEM lab teacher, which means we're going to have a dedicated teacher to teach science, science to our K-4 students. And what that means is, if we have to go down to 3-man teams on elementary school, then I am not overwhelming teachers by having them teach multiple contents. They will still be able to spend most of their time doing reading and math and social studies. And an extra teacher will be in there to teach science. And they'll be incorporating STEM. It's an interdisciplinary approach. We're going to have a lab teacher that gives us consistency in a science program, because although science is not a tested area in elementary school, it is certainly a very important area, and the direct relationship between science and math, we really want to highlight through our STEM signature program. So we're talking about buying a teacher, and we also will be doing professional development funding through there for teachers. We also were mandated by the district to have a CTAE teacher, a career technology, agriculture, and education teacher for middle school. And we have to, I'm distracted because we're playing with that. We have to provide our students with coursework that has been dictated by the district. And that coursework is computer science. And so we're going to, but there's several areas that we can choose from for computer science, but we have to expose our middle schoolers to CTAE computer science. And that will be included under our signature programming. CTAE, it prepares students for career pathways. CTAE will carry them over into high school. And that is the other thing that we are working very hard in our middle school program, our 6-8 program, to have our babies have an option of a pathway. So they have pathways going to, say, Washington High School. They have pathways to any high school, Washington being our high school. We have been in conference with Washington High School asking, what are your pathways? CTAE is a pathway. Culinary arts is a pathway. And those are two things that we're working very hard to have in place next year for middle school. Culinary arts is coming out this year to finish the year with us, to work with a select group of 8th graders. So our babies can have a sense of what they can choose from when they get to Washington or any high school, because all high schools have pathways for students, whether it's a music pathway or an ROTC pathway or a dance pathway or an art pathway. The kids need to experience those things, which is what we do in middle school beyond the core. They get to experience it, but we need them to also experience the things that they're going to actually walk into at the next level. So under our signature program, we're going to look at CTAE and more career pathways. We also will ask for money for STEM field trips that have a real world connection for our kids so that they can make better connections in their day-to-day and understand how everything is connected. STEM is connected, and math, science, all of them go together, and we want them to have a greater appreciation for all of those things. So these are some of the monies that we've put down so far. That I have not done. There's more to be done. But at this point, I'm asking for over $500,000 for signature programming. And that's kind of where we are. And I just read through all of that, Miss. Thank you. The next pathway is, the next program is turnaround. We are a turnaround school. And so we are looking at ways to increase our turnaround, get teachers through our turnaround budget. I'll just say it that way. We want a reading specialist, and understand that we already have a reading specialist, but she was paid out of this budget. So she is right back in it for next year. She's essential. That we have targeted our students. We use our data to support who she sees. We want her, she pulls students out of beyond the core twice a week, and she works with them on their reading skills in an attempt to fill some of the holes and some of the gaps that our kids have that are going to get in their way when it comes to grade level testing. So we are, in addition to this year, that role was primarily a teacher. Next year, that role is still going to be a teacher touching students, but also someone that can work with, say, new teachers, young teachers who are not as adept in reading as perhaps they need to be. And that person will provide modeling. That person will provide support. I mean, that's outside coaching support. That's just more support for our teachers. So it's kind of a dual role. We didn't do that this year, but we're hoping to try to do that next year in that position. We also next year want to have 2 math content specialists. This year we have 1. Because math is going to be the focus. It is going to be the focus next year in a bigger way than it's already a huge focus, but it will be a focus, and we know we have to hit the ground running. So we want to effectively address the diverse needs of our students, improve their performance. We want to offer professional development to our teachers. There's lots of changes being made in the district at the district level that may impact us in terms of some of the support we've received from outside in the district. So we want to be prepared that we have people in place, and that's you're one slide ahead. We have people in place that can help us with our targeted groups of students that need more. And that's why we're going to request a second math specialist, and that person will do something similar to what the reading specialist is going to do by also working with teachers. They will target small group for small group instruction. They will still be working with students, but we also want to see if we can't use them to support teachers when teachers are struggling, especially in the area of math. That's part of this proposal for this budget coming up, the signature program fund request. You can go to the next page. We have a behavior specialist that we already pay. Yes, Ms. Balil, we will still have tutoring, and really the content specialists are a form of tutors because they're pulling small groups of kids during the school day. And I saw Ms. Balil's question, so I'm answering it. Back to the behavior specialist, that's another person that we already have on staff, or it's another position we have on staff. And it's a huge role because we don't have right now SEL in place in the building. And so we depend on our behavior specialists and our teachers to continue providing that level of support. MTSS, the behavior specialist, also plays a role in the MTSS process, if you want to call it the SST process, the multi-tiered system of supports. They help address the emotional and behavioral needs. And also, most behavior specialists were teachers at one time. And so we still have that piece to fall back on in the event that we need it. But they will provide restorative practices, targeted interventions, and we're going to try to be Ms. Balil, okay. The content specialist pulls the students during Beyond the Core. So during Beyond the Core, 2 to 3 times a week, the select group of kids will be pulled. And I want everybody to understand that group of kids is a fluid group of kids. So as we meet the needs of one student, we will have another student come in. And because we're constantly looking at data, and data is driving all of this. It drives everything we do in terms of the way we support our kids. So yes, that will also be during the day. Plus we have 1 day a week that is mandatory tutorial. It's on Wednesday. We've had students staying after school this year, but we have more teachers participating during second semester than we had first semester. Yes, that's exactly right, Ms. Vanbro. It's Wednesday. Wednesday is tutorial day, and we're now trying to figure out ways, if we have a lot of babies who can't stay for transportation issues, how we're going to address that if in fact they need to stay. And of course, we may be able to do something online. Let's see, Beyond the Core, a fluid group rotate. Okay. All right. I'm just reading what you're writing, Ms. Balil. So yes, back to having a behavior specialist who also works sort of hand in hand with our MTSS specialists in terms of supporting kids. We have also 2 turnaround paraprofessionals that we are going to try to get. And because we have found that when you have a child in MTSS, when you have a child that's on a tier 3 in MTSS, which means they get a little bit more, and they have more interventions that go above and beyond what is done in a classroom. So does tier 2. Teachers have been charged with, using alternative interventions for these babies and trying to keep up with the data. And we know that that's extremely difficult. So we want to have 2 people that are just primarily there to work with kids in MTSS, making sure they get their interventions, and most of their interventions are online. They're computer-based interventions, and also helping record data for them, making sure we keep up with their data and we see where they are in the process. Because our goal for having a child in a multi-tiered system of support is not to push them over into special ed. Our goal is to use interventions that address what is wrong, they're struggling with, so that they can in fact come out of MTSS or go back to a tier 1, and which is regular classroom instruction. So we are going to ask for turnaround parapros that are basically only they're working with our students on interventions and through all grade levels. So that's another thing. So that's, oh wait, where was the amount that I'm asking for? Do you see it, Ms. Fambro? Okay. And for this one, we're going to ask for $742,466. and we'll see what we get. Someone told me, ask for the sky and maybe you'll get something. So we will get something. We may not get everything we asked for, but the tighter my rationale is, the better it will be, is all I need. You know, it's all about a rationale, and our web-based subscriptions will come out of this. Honestly, we only had, APS provides web-based platforms for our kids, but they don't provide all of them. And we use IXL here, and we also use Progress Learning, and those were things we had to pay for out of our budget. And in all transparency, we didn't have the money. So it took us a while to get it. We have, again, thank you to our partners, because they're the ones that made the difference in this one, because it took us a while to get that together this year. And we want to be ahead of the game next year. And if I ask for the money through turnaround now, that means we can renew subscriptions without having to bat an eye. And it's amazing. It's little, if you think these are little things, but when you're at a school that had no money, they were huge, huge hurdles to overcome. But we got them, and they're here, and we're using them. And we're hoping next year, if we build it in appropriately into our budget, we won't have a problem. They were not in our budget for this year. They did that line, just, it didn't have the money. So what is next? Would you like to read that, Ms. Fambro?
Here I am. Here I am.
I'm gonna just have a sip of water.
No.
Thank you.
So, Principal Shea presented our bullet allocation presentation. So I want to thank you for that information. And it's important to understand how these allocations will impact our students and the school overall goals. Let's focus our discussion on the proposed request for the signature program and turnaround funds. How do you see these funds contributing to our strategic priorities, and what are the potential benefits and challenges we should consider? So again, I'll ask the question. We're going to be having a discussion about our proposed request for the signature program, and I'll put that back on the screen. And the question is, how do you see these funds contributing to our strategic priorities, and what are the potential benefits and challenges we should consider? So I'm going to go back to the signature programming. And I believe, wait, it is here. So
Let's turn around.
Yeah.
Go.
Oh, no. Sorry.
It's the very first. I think I talked signature first. There it is.
Okay, so my screen, it's a lot on mine that y'all don't see. So this does say signature program fund request. So let me make sure I have there we go. Okay. So a STEM lab teacher, I want to just put this back on the forefront. They proposed a elementary STEM lab teacher for grades K-4, and she already gave you the rationale. A computer science teacher, that's what I'm assuming CTA stands for, and then field trips. And this is the actual, no, it's not, the budget in total. I'll give you a second to look at it, and I'll pose the questions again. If anyone has nothing to say, that's fine, but I still want to offer the opportunity. And I'll put the question in the chat just for those who actually like to see it and not hear it. So the questions are in the chat. Give you a couple more seconds. And if anyone wants to share their thoughts, you will be more than welcome. And if you're ready now, go ahead.
It's a lot, and nobody knows that better than I do. It's a lot.
Take your time and think, but if you want to come off mute, it's fine. And I just want to reiterate that the proposal is to have a CTA teacher, which is a computer science teacher. That's what I'm thinking, right? And a STEM teacher and field trips. How does it contribute to our strategic priorities? And what benefits and or challenges do we need to consider?
I think that the STEM and science teacher idea would be a very creative way to, one, try to balance our budget restrictions for next year, as we have some serious restrictions, while still maintaining and understanding that math and science is going to be a huge focus point in the upcoming year. So I think that's a good way to kind of balance our restrictions while still prioritizing that our students are learning their math and science. So I do like that idea. I think it's a creative way to kind of address our issues that we're faced with.
I think that was very innovative to do so. I also wanted to, I put it in the chat earlier, but elementary does test in science, just not all of them, right? Fifth grade test. So if they're getting that science, they'll be more prepared for fifth grade when they do actually take the Georgia Milestone Assessment. So I think it's a great segue to fifth grade as well, because they're getting into K-4, and then you get hit with that heavy science in fifth grade. So it's a great opportunity there as well. Computer science, that was one of my favorite classes in middle school. So I think it's a good idea. And we have a comment, so I'm going to stop. I was just trying to fill some space here. If math and reading are number one on our priority list, what are we doing to support reading? That's a great question, and I think it's geared toward you, Principal Shay.
Oh, well, I mean, we're asking for another content specialist in reading for next year. We're hoping not to have to change any of the supports that are already in place. So that's why there wasn't a lot, because we already have coaches. We have people in place that are supporting reading. I'm just talking about things that we were afraid we were going to lose something. But that's a great question, and we certainly are going to continue to support reading. I believe there'll be a more specific curriculum next year in reading, and but we still will have our coach, our ELA coach, and our that we're hoping and working very hard to hold on to in our budget.
And I think that was actually a great question as well. Math, I mean, me just thinking about the acronym of STEM, hopefully that even though it's teaching science, hopefully math will be incorporated in that, so that can aid to priority if we, do it effectively the way we are hoping so, right? So I can see the math coming in that capacity as well.
Yes.
And
I mean, we have to work on greater integration across contents, because that helps kids see relationships. So if we teach everything in isolation, you are correct that we won't be doing as well as we would if we taught it together in some ways.
Ms. Green had a question, and most of these questions will be for you. Are we planning to seek STEM certification?
We're going to keep our cognitive certification, Ms. Green, and because the direction from the district is that our cognitive certification is appropriate. And so that's what we're working on right now, just to see what we have to do we already have it, but it is expiring. So we are working on finding out what we need to do in that area.
All right, and Mr. Torres made a comment. Science is very closely tied to reading as well. I was going to say that next, so thank you for helping me with that one. The teacher can cross-plan with the reading specialists and teachers to teach skills like inferences and analyzing information. I was also thinking our computer science teacher could do some things in that class as well in regard to literacy. It's Barbara Shea kind of hinted on about just making sure that they integrate those things, which technically every class should be integrating reading, even math, right? Because they have to read classes. So Barbara Shea already, I guess, closed that one out. But feel free. I don't want to stop because this is a great conversation. So if you have any more thoughts, please put them in the chat before we have to move on. So I'll give you some seconds just in case.
I think the turnaround specialist is also good. Good idea to give us more, give the students more support so we can move forward into getting off the list. So that's good.
I agree. And those are great comments in the chat as well as Ms. Bilal. So again, I'm going to give a little more space for any thoughts that may pop up, and then we will close this discussion now. So I'm just going to give some think time, one last. All right. If we have no further thoughts or comments, I just want to thank you all for sharing your thoughts and questions about our school's allocation and request of signature program and turnaround funds. Your input is always invaluable, and we will continue this process. It is not done today. At our next meeting, we'll have the opportunity to review the budget in detail and provide additional feedback to ensure it aligns with our school's strategic priorities and the needs of our students. So once again, this is not the end. So if you have more questions from today, write it down. And we just had a comment that said turnaround paraprofessional will get us closer to getting off that list. And I agree, because we are getting off that list. All righty, so I'm going to have to go. We went back just for the discussion, so I'm going to move forward to keep myself on track. So I just want to talk about what's next really quick. So we have to have Go Team feedback meetings February 10th through 14th. We'll vote on our draft budget before the 14th, which, remember, I just want to reiterate to you all, we agreed on a meeting on the 12th. So make sure, and it'll be updated on our site now that we voted on it. So just throwing it out that we have another meeting February 12th, same time, same place. The cluster superintendent will review February 17th through the 21st. Staffing conferences will happen beginning February 24th through February 22nd, 27th. I'm sorry. And in March, what is happening is the final Go Team approval meeting for the budget after our school staffing conferences, but before March 14th. And we'll vote on the final budget before March 14th. So a lot of things have to happen before March 14th. Any questions?
There's something in the chat, Ms. Vanbro.
I think I read it already.
But Mother Moore. Community comments, time, please.
So we did not have any. But if you want to add some comments, you can. But we had to close the public comment 5 minutes prior, and this is the actual form. There are no responses. But if you want to share any comments and thoughts, absolutely, you are welcome. But as far as anyone outside of this meeting, no one signed up, and we posted the comment section. So if you want to go ahead and take it away, Ms. Moore, you can.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate it very much. I'm very quick. I would like for the Go Team vote of support for Hollis continuing to be a pre-K through 8 school. As you all know, that was an issue for the last term, and community is still eager for the Go Team to be in support of that. The second is the status of the principal search. The status of that, and looking back on last year, the process, if they wait until March or April, we will not have a principal until before we start school. So if the Go Team could follow up with that and see what that's like and encourage movement now. The final is as part of the organizations in the West Side that are part of building healthy, sustainable community. As you well know, schools, healthy, sustainable schools are an imperative part of rebuilding healthy, sustainable Vine City and English Avenue. As such, avenues for the community to get more connected to supporting Hollis, Booker T, all of our schools. I see that there's the opportunity to have a Go Team advisory committee. I'd like to request that our Go Team consider the establishment of an advisory committee that gives another avenue for the community to be connected to supporting a healthy, sustainable Hollis. Thank you.
Gotcha. And I just want to make sure I captured all your thoughts. So you talked about making sure the Go Team has a vote of support to keep Hollis as a pre-K through 8 school. You wanted to have the Go Team check on the status of the principal search, and the Go Team consider and Go Team advisory committee. I think I got the gist of it. So did I paraphrase all of that correctly so that I can make sure that we address your concerns, Mother Moore?
Yeah, just on the principal piece, I think that they said they would wait until spring. I think that there needs to be some
Urgency.
movement now, but we don't know. I don't know. Maybe you all do, but I don't.
It's on the website. It came out last week. The principal search timeline came out last week. And I'm trying to access it, but it's giving me a hard time right now. But it's on our website. And I can only speak from what my memory is telling me. And I know that the process is starting. And they are hoping to have someone in place early May before the year is over. So that next year, so that they can come and see the school before they start in this after the summer. Do you see it? There it is. Thank you. So,
Thank you.
no, that's not the one.
Oh, this old?
That's
Okay.
the old one.
Yeah, I thought so. I was going to say
the new one is on there, but I just can't. It's not letting me do it.
Well, that's my Madam Chair. That's my concern. I'm not able to see even with the Go Team getting in.
Well, I'm going to make sure that we get it put on tomorrow. We don't need it on the banner. We'll just put it right there, smack in the middle of the website, so you can see it, because I'm struggling to see it myself. So, but it is up there. It has been. We sent a robocall home about it. We will continue to do that. But I know that they want that person approved by the board by May 5th. That much I do know. I remember that from the bottom of the flyer. So they are, I mean, I know they sent ours out. They sent the one out for Washington High School. They're starting. They're starting.
Thank you.
No problem. And I'll send as much information as I can find, Mother Moore. It'll be on the website tomorrow in a different place so that we can actually see it. But it's a very similar, it's a timeline just like they've posted before. But this time it's going to happen.
Alrighty, so you all, this is probably one of our longer meetings, but we're going to move forward. And we'll now move on to our information items. First is the principal's report, and Principal Shay. Most people say her full name, you all, so excuse me sometimes. Following the script, Principal Shay will now review CCR PI.
Okay, so our CCRPI results that were released from the state this week, it's sort of an update of how we're doing between the end of last year and the beginning of this year, shows that we are growing. We are growing in progress. We are growing in readiness. That means that the test scores from this last year to now have improved. Our kids are doing better. We still have work to do. Honestly, one of the biggest things that's getting to us is attendance. And if we don't have the babies in seats, then we can't really teach them. So we have made huge efforts to, we have a team within a team dealing with attendance now. And it's paying off. Our kids are coming to school. It's slow. It's not nearly as good as it needs to be, but we are moving in the right direction. This past week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, we got recognized for a 5% increase on our content mastery component. We got acknowledged and a big shout out, and that just says we are moving in the right direction. We're excited. We're excited. It's good to have good news. Content mastery in middle school. We've dropped in progress. but we are still closing gaps. We are still moving up in readiness and content mastery. We know the areas where we're struggling, and we have put things in place to address those things, which is part of why we're on, on the list. We have people that help us do that. So we expect that to start moving in a different direction.
I cannot see. 1 second. All right, so we will now move on to our announcements, and did you have anything else to add? Because it seems like I cut you off. I don't think so though, right?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I didn't cut you off, right?
No, no, but I will say I don't have anything else about CCRPI, but we have made it to the playoffs in basketball, in boys basketball, and that game is tomorrow night. So that's a really big deal, and we're excited about that. It's our girls unfortunately did not make it to the playoffs, but our boys did, and they'll be playing tomorrow night at 7 at King Middle School. So please come out and join us. I know it makes for a long day. Believe me, we know it makes for a long day, but it is fun to watch the kids.
Absolutely. We did want to remind and announce that Go Team members, please complete the budget training in the Ellis platform. If you all need assistance with that platform, please contact the Go Team office. Again, you have to complete the budget training on Ellis platform, every Go Team member. Another announcement is to declare your candidacy for Go Team. If you're interested, again, declare it by February 28th. Screen on the screen is a QR code as well as the link, and it is also posted. And those are all of the announcements that I have. Does anyone else on this call have additional announcements? All righty, well, we have finally, you all, reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this moment in time? Well, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
A second.
I second it.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Meeting is adjourned, Go Team. Thank you for a healthy discussion. See you soon.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate
Good night.
it.
Good night. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.